Anarchy Mountaintop Cookie PvE 2024! This video is going to show a solo flawless legend, the Whisper mission, whilst using Anarchy and Mountaintop setup. For those who just want to see that and skip to the timestamps, for the rest of you can go into the build, etc. Just to remind people, make sure you either hit subscribe, like, share, comment, like, share, like, comment, share, like. Do all of those in that succession. So, the setup. Bear in mind, the resistance changes on Legend Whisper daily, I believe, between Solar, Arc, Void. In actual fact, the worst threat, if you want to know, is Arc, but you can always cover that with a resistance mod. Just thought I would mention that. So, you first want to understand the Sacred Dawn movement that you see me end up using at the start of the video, and I'm just going to briefly explain that quickly to you now. The components needed are as follows. Icarus Dash, Heat Rises, that is it. Wings of Sacred Dawn, that is it. That's all you need. Oh, and sorry, an Eager Edge Sword as well. Eager Edge Sword definitely needed that, need for this, but that's the Wings of Sacred Dawn explained to you. There'll be more information in the run itself. So the loadout we ended up using was a Vesper of Radius slash Geomag Stabilizers, right? Using those two builds. Our rolls on our Mountaintop, we also use Recluse. So I have not farmed Mountaintop up yet. Disclaimer, I haven't farmed it up. I've only gotten a few, and they're all with one for all, which is not what I want on this weapon. I'll repeat to you, I don't want one for all on this weapon. So this video is showing you Mountaintop not at its best, but it still cooks. So on this roll, I have Spike Grenades, Quick Launch, Overflow, one for all. This is fine until I get a one for all. I don't want this. I would like other perks over this. Recluse. Now this is a weapon that I do like the rolls that I have on it, right? Which I'll explain in the run. I've got Flared Magwell, Feeding Frenzy, Surrounded. Overall, I actually quite like this roll on the Recluse. Taking spec in both weapons, and obviously we're pairing Mountaintop with Anarchy, the old OG loadouts that we used to use. So I'm not going to go too much into mods and stuff like that because there'll be dim links, but those are the setups that we used in this run. So as we load the mission, make sure you've got your stuff equipped that I suggested with the Wings of Sacred Dawn loadout with a Eager Edge Sword so that we can skip the puzzle. Now, you can do Well Skate. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm just saying that I use this method to do it. So I'm going to show you this because it doesn't get used frequently, and it is an option where you need to cover a vast area, like a gap, right? But you need to have height at your advantage, which in the Whisper mission we do. So we Eager Edge over the top, Icarus Dash, aim down sights, and we repeat. So Eager Edge Sword, swap to Mountaintop, aim down sights, and rinse and repeat this. But we need to drop down below because there's an invisible wall above our heads. If we hit it, we will have downward momentum and we will fail at the puzzle skip, the jump puzzle skip. So we just repeat, look. But we need to keep an eye on our Icarus cooldown timer, which, by the way, I haven't even procced Heat Rises, which you can also do that with this setup. I'm just going to proc Heat Rises on the next section. That's why I didn't pop my nade. So you're going to see me pop my nade for the next skip. Super simple to do. The only reason why I'm showing this is because it's a good thing to use on controller. Alright? Because if you're doing well skating, you are illegal, and I will report you if I see you doing it. So, look. This is a good thing to do. Very easy to pull off. There's just 3 buttons and a bit of timing. Once you get the timing done, then it's really easy, look. As you can see. You just need to learn to wait out that Icarus cooldown timer once your Heat Rise time has ended. We're going to skip off the build to our actual build, which is Vesper of Radius, Curse Reach, etc., etc., Pulse Nade. You know, there'll be dim links for it, so I don't feel as though I need to cover like all of it. Like, oh, I ran this, I ran a kinetic loader. Wow. Of course I'm going to run a kinetic loader. I think that's straightforward that I would run a kinetic loader. You know, a bomber, that's straightforward. If you've been watching my stuff, you should know, actually, if you're a long-time person here, you should be able to look at my build, right, without looking at the mods and know what mods I've got on. For long-term long-term people who watch, they should know it. You should know it already. But there's dim links. All right. Not that I think that many people use them, but I do provide them because it doesn't take that long. And it does help out people who actually do want to use them, I suppose. So we're now getting to the first room. And this run is to test what Anarchy, Mountaintop, and Recluse are like. Now, I've already kind of tested Anarchy last week, but because I wanted to do a Mountaintop run, I was torn between doing a Brave Weapon run with Mountaintop and Edge Transit and Recluse, or doing it like this. But I just opted for this because this is what the old loadouts used to be with Anarchy Mountaintop. So we'll get a pulse nade on that captain, then a healing rift in this little cave. Do it like this if you're on this loadout, if you're going to use a Vesper run, because this is the best way of doing it. Get rid of the mages, the two captains, and the snipers. Get a direct hit with Mountaintop to make sure you one-shot them. You will not one-shot them if you don't get a direct hit. Right, then we're going to get an Anarchy shot down in middle. We don't always, it just depends if we get the heavy or not. Right, then we'll stick some Anarchy up top. Right, we'll get a pulse nade on these spawns, and then we'll just multitask the room. Alright, not that there's much danger with this, and not that you need to do it quickly, but I'm just giving you, you know, information on how you can clear these rooms quickly on a class like this, Vesper Rage, which is a popular class. It is with me as well. So yeah, it's good. There's still adds up in the top mid. Some goblins and stuff. Mountaintop one-shots orange bars, essentially, in this. Bear in mind, we are minus 15 delta. Minus 15 delta. So bear that in mind when you see Recluse in action. Is it doing good? Well, it will do. Why? Because my role has Surrounded, which is the highest buff you can get on the weapon. Right? Now, there's people chasing desperate measures and stuff. Because we know that Master of Arms is rubbish, and it is. It's not that it's rubbish, it's just that it's mid. That's the problem with Master of Arms, because it's only a 15% buff. Frenzy is also a 15% buff, but promotes a lot of base handling stats, reload, and all sorts of things. So, Master of Arms ain't all that good, so you want to chase a role that's not Master of Arms, but they will buff Master of Arms in the future. It's Bungie we are talking about. They are baiting you by thinking Master of Arms is bad, which it is. They'll end up buffing it at some point, and then if you don't have the Master of Arms role, you're at loss. But this is how Bungie works. You need to know how Bungie works so that you're ahead of the game. So you want to keep a Master of Arms Recluse in the vault for when they buff it, because they will buff it 100% at some point. Whether it's a final shape, probably not. It might be the episode after, but they'll do it. So, Mountaintop's really good for the running and gunning. Now, my role, as I said, it's got one for all on it, and okay, it is a bit of a damage bonus, but what you need to understand with one for all is the perk uptime of one for all isn't very good. So even though it's a good chunky buff, and it's more than like Frenzy and stuff, it doesn't matter that it's more than Frenzy, because Frenzy, the uptime on that perk is 90%, 95%, which means it gives you 15% buff at all times. Right, Vorpal, it works on all enemies apart from red bars, but it doesn't matter that it doesn't work on red bars, because guess what? Mountaintop can one-shot them. So why would you need Vorpal to work on a red bar when they're dead anyway, right? So it's the case of, I'm not happy with this Mountaintop role I have, but I couldn't be bothered. Not that I couldn't be bothered, I didn't have the time to go and farm Mountaintop to then go and do this run and then make the video. By that time, I'm having to go to work, so I haven't got the time to do that. So, unfortunately, I can't show you the absolute best role for Mountaintop, but we are up to the mercy of RNG on whether we get it. For the Scion Wave, you need to get a Rift Arm, especially if you're not rocking like a Solar 3.0 Restoration build, and get your Arc Soul to suppress. It's almost like suppressing them to stop them from multiplying and help you out. We're going to use a bit of Mountaintop here to try and stop them from multiplying. We have Super Notice, we haven't used it yet. We're going to use it in this next room. Ammo, Super, all that stuff can be spammed in this room, of course. This isn't the best option, by the way, in terms of Anarchy getting to this point. Thunderlord would have been far better, quicker, getting here. But honestly, obviously, the whole purpose of the video is to show you Anarchy Mountaintop. I don't think it'd be fair if I put on Thunderlord, because then that is me false advertisement. You know, I use Thunderlord up until this point. I then pop Anarchy, swap to it. I don't think that would have been fair for the video. So it's Anarchy Mountaintop the entire way. Right, we'll do our loadout switch. We've got double arc reserves on so that we get extra Anarchy. Alright, then we're going to pop middle box for middle boss. He's the toughest. He's the most annoying. We're going to try and get 2 Anarchy shots, avoid his darkness wall. Right, and then come here. We'll try and kill these 2 snipers if we can, but I didn't get a quick enough reload there. We've still got the Vesper build on. We're going to swap it in a minute. Right, we're going to pop a healing rift around this corner. Put Anarchy there just to try and see if we can aggro. We have aggroed the boss. That's good. Pulse Nade has missed. Unfortunate. That's fine though. We switched to Geomags. We're wandering with that super. Lost a bit of damage there on there, but we should just about kill him. When you kill the respective boss, his adds despawn. In this case, captains will despawn because they're attached to him. If you didn't know that, you missed it from last week. I already showed you that. So like the Centurions, the big Centurion boss spawns in Centurions. They despawn when he's dead. The Fire Knight spawns in Wizards. They despawn when he's dead. So are we clear on that? Because if you quiz me about it, I'm going to ask, do you know that? And if you say you don't know, it's because you've missed the dialogue. That's your problem, not my fault. So this one for all is doing good here. All right, it's doing good because we're having to use it against these tanky targets. Recluse is also putting out, you know, right now Surrounded isn't procced, but it's been procced a hell of a lot of times throughout this run. So I still think, like, bear in mind, this is minus 15 Delta, I believe. Just the mod doesn't say that, but I believe it follows the same formula as other Legend missions, i.e. Legend Presage, Operation Seraph Shield, etc., etc. It just hasn't got that mod on there. It should have the mod to say. So we're going to take down this Void Wizard first, break shield. The key point there was breaking the guy's shield, then Mountaintop, because did you see the animation? The wizard stuns, therefore you can definitely hit your Mountaintop shot to one shot. The big thing about Mountaintop is that if you don't get a direct hit, the damage is rubbish. And I also think it's a little funky to use at times with its in-air shots. Now, I don't know exactly what they've done in terms of what it used to be, because they nerfed Mountaintop, didn't they? When you were in the air, you were less accurate. I feel that's sometimes still the case. It's a little better than what it was, but it's still sometimes missing shots a little bit. But overall, I'm satisfied with how Mountaintop's performing. You've got your rocket jumping, but listen, the rocket jumping's basically useless to you in endgame. Don't worry about the rocket jumping. It is novelty. It is holiday time. It isn't endgame time. Don't worry about all that stuff. That stuff's a load of rubbish. You're wasting ammo doing rocket jumping. Are you really going to jump in the air to throw a nade? Right? And then not have Mountaintop loaded to do damage because you've done your rocket jump? Don't worry about that stuff. That's just for you to have fun in patrol. That isn't stuff to do in endgame. You can do it in this, but like GMs and stuff, don't worry about doing any of that stuff unless you are maybe like doing sticky nades. You need sticky nades on it to make it work. But then you fired 7 shots to then do some movement tech. And another thing, why are they calling it movement tech? Have they started a company, a telecommunications company? Are they now Elon Musk? Stop calling it movement tech. It is movement options. I don't know why people come up with a fancy buzzword and say, look at this new movement tech we have. What? Movement tech? You mean a movement option that you found in D2, right? You're not starting a new company up, okay? Tone down a little bit. You're in your basement playing D2. It's not movement tech. It's just a movement option. It really bothers me when I see videos titled movement tech. It's not movement tech at all. It's not tech anyways because Bungie said it's intended. They showed it in the stream. So, no, it's an intended interaction of what Mountaintop's like now. That's what they want, to create buzz around the weapon. And I think it's nice. I think it's good. It's fun, and you can use certain momentum to carry you forward. You shoot on some stairs, and you go flying the other way. Stuff like that. I like it for, but like, you know, it's a waste of ammo. Why would you do this in things that matter in the game? You wouldn't. So we're just going to do Anarchy Mountaintop. It's doing really good damage. Bear in mind, this is no Vorpal. Imagine Vorpal, 15% plus damage on what the damage we're doing now. That would have been far better for me than what One for All did. So there you go. I've just give you one slight secret. Vorpal, with it being an old-fashioned perk, yeah, it might well be. But One for All is not as good as Vorpal. I can wholeheartedly tell you that this is true. It is. Recombination, however, that is interesting. You can front load your damage, yeah, to do massive damage to champs and stuff if you don't use it for a little bit. Okay, I think recombination's fantastic, and I think that in certain scenarios is better than Vorpal. But just bear in mind, it's only for one shot. Vorpal is 15% buff for every shot against bosses, orange bars, yellow bars. Recombination is it maybe if you against champs, that's where it would be good for. we're gonna tie up this boss. We're gonna do double anarchy, pulse nade, use our geomags, and that melts the boss. It's a good way of clearing this mission, and I'm happy how these weapons performed. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.